Today you'll be learning all about the human body. Interesting, hey? Anyway, we'll be talking about the brain, 5 senses, plus loads more. Let's get on with it, shall we? The brain. Do you know what the brain does? Well, here's your lucky day because we've got the answer. Your brain controls your body quite a lot, actually. Amazing, huh? It keeps the heart, stomach, lungs, kidneys, and as I say, all the body working. I bet you've never, ever seen a brain. As you can see, the brain is a pinkish, greyish and soft-looking thing and is covered with many tiny tubes of blood. The spinal cord links the brain to the rest of the body. Have you ever wondered why people sleepwalk? Well, it's because they are worried or anxious. If someone is sleepwalking, it's a good idea to put them back to bed. Senses. Well, you're going to need to know all about your 5 senses. Touch, sight, taste, hear and smell. Get one of your senses ready because you're going to need your hearing and sight for what we've got in stock for you. Okay, we're going to start with touch. The sense of touch tells you whether something's rough, wet or cold and many other things. There are many different kinds of receptors in the skin. React to touch, heat, cold and pain. Some touch receptors react to the slightest thing, while others need a lot of pressure to make them respond. The brain puts together all the different messages to tell you how something feels. Clever, eh? Next, we'll investigate the sight sense. You see something when light bounces off it and enters your eye through the pupil or the black hole in the middle of the coloured bit, otherwise known as the iris. Here's a cross-section of an eye. As you can see, light bounces off the flower through the lens and at the front of the eye and the pupil onto the retina at the back of the eye. Notice anything funny about the picture of the flower on the retina? Yep, it's upside down. Nerve endings in the retina send signals along the optic nerve to the brain. Then the brain turns it around so you think it's the right way up. Has anyone ever told you why we blink? Well, I'm going to tell you why. You blink to clean and protect your eyes. Each eye is covered with a thin film of salty water, so every time you blink, the eyelid washes the eyeball and wipes away dust and germs. The water drains away through a narrow tube into your nose. Ew! Horrible! You also blink to protect your eye when something comes too close to it. Blinking is so important, you do it automatically. Now that was interesting, but do you think this is more interesting? Taste is the next. Now there may be weird things in this one too, so be aware. Did you know different parts of the tongue taste different types of taste? Huh? I know it's complicating, but just try to stick to it. See the dark blue highlighted spot? That's where you taste bitter things, and the green is where you taste salty things. And last but not least, sweet, the light blue one. Understand now?
Yeah.
Take a close look at this taste bud. Taste cells react to chemicals dissolved in saliva. Well, I suppose it is rather weird, isn't it? Ever wonder why tastes are better than others? Most people prefer things that taste sweet or salty, but your sense of taste can easily become used to too much sugar and salt. How you like food to taste is very much decided by your eating habits. Wow, ever heard of that then? Well, here's another question. Why does a blocked nose stop you tasting? Here's the answer. When you eat, you both taste and smell the food. If your nose is blocked with mucus from a cold, you can't smell properly, and so food seems to have less taste too. So, do you think it's more interesting? I do. Want to hear all about how you detect taste? Here it goes. The surface of the tongue has about 10,000 microscopic taste buds sunk in it. As you chew, tiny particles of food dissolve in saliva and trickle down to the taste buds. Taste receptors react and send messages to the brain about the taste. There are 4 basic tastes: sweet, salty, bitter, and sour. And every taste is made up of one of a combination. The taste buds in different parts of the tongue react mainly to one of these basic tastes. So you think that was interesting? Just as I thought. Next up we've got hearing, or in other words, the ear. As soon as someone says eardrum, it's the first picture to pop into your head, a drum. Never mind about that. Let's just get back on the ball. Now, as you look at these pictures, there are a lot of questions you are thinking of, aren't you? This is one of the questions I was thinking of. Why do we have 2 ears? Well, I know the answer as well as the question. So the answer is 2 ears help us detect which direction sounds are coming from. Amazing how God has made all of this work. But has anyone asked you how your ears help you balance? Weird, I know. Well, moi here knows all of that, plus the answer. 3 curved tubes in the ear help you to balance. They are filled with liquid and are called the semicular canals. They are arranged at right angles to each other like 3 sides of a box, so that as you move, the liquid inside you moves too. Nerves in the lining of the tubes detect changes in the liquid and send the information to the brain. All that information has almost put you to sleep, I bet. Well, last but not least, we're exploring the sense of smell. If you look at yourself in the mirror, you will realise your nose is above your mouth, and that is because there is a tube in between them. That's also why they're so close together, and that's why you breathe in through your nose and out your mouth. Now, we've only talked about the 5 senses and the brain, but not about the bones, so here are a few facts about them. As a baby, you had over 300 bones, but as you grow, some bones join together, so as an adult, you only have about 206. The skull is made up of more than 20 bones that have joined together so they don't move. It protects the brain. The rib cage protects lungs, heart, and other vital organs. Inside a bone is a crisscross honeycomb of a light bone. Blood vessels weave in and out of the bone, keeping the cells alive. bone marrow is at the center of some bones. You can move and bend different parts of the body because the bones meet at joints. Each kind of joint makes a strong connection and allows a particular kind of movement. For example, the knee is a high joint and allows the lower leg to move backwards and forwards. The hip is a ball and a socket joint that allows you to move your thigh around a circle. The thumb has a saddle joint at its base, which also gives a good range of movement. The joints are cushioned by a soft, squashy cartilage, and some also have liquid called synovial fluid, which works like oil does in a car to keep them moving smoothly and painlessly. Ligaments are strong, bendy straps that hold the bones in a joint. Nearly all the body's joints have several ligaments. Most of our bones are hung from our spine. The spine is a column of smaller, interlocking, knobby bones called vertebrae. Much of our weight is supported by our spine. Inside is a main nerve pathway from our brains to our arms, legs and fingers, etc. Down this pathway our brain sends messages to our muscles to contract or relax to make us move. Also, pain messages are sent back up our spines to tell our brain if we are hurt or sick. The bones are covered with muscles that move our bones and give us shape. Muscles in the face move our cheeks, eyebrows, nose and mouth. Tongue and lower jaw help us pull different face expressions to talk. These muscles require messages from our brain to move different muscles in our food pipe, stomach and intestines. Muscles can only pull, not push, so they work in pairs, one on either side of the bone to pull it up or forward. Then the other pulls it down or back. The strongest muscle is surprisingly in the mouth. Maybe that's why it is so hard to some people to be quiet. It is called the master, and you use it for talking and chewing up food. Muscles are attached to bones by tendons that are like tough rope. If you bend and straighten your fingers, you can feel the tendons on the back of your hand. Hey, talking of muscles, did you know your heart is a muscle, but quite a big one? It never stops pumping blood around with oxygen to each and every cell. Getting back to the point, kidneys, well, they're not a muscle, but they do have something to do with blood. Of course. In fact, they do a very important job, which is to clean out all the bad things in the blood and make it clean again. Now moving up a bit on the body and moving to the front are lungs. They exchange oxygen for carbon dioxide. So when you breathe in oxygen, and when you breathe out carbon dioxide. Wow, I bet after all that information, you're ready for a big piece of chocolate. But watch out for those teeth. Speaking of teeth, did you know teeth are also made of the same thing as your bones? That's why if you look at a picture of a skeleton, you can't see the tongue, but you can see the teeth. If you want to find out more, you can log on to the internet or go to the library or have a look around a museum. Thanks so much for listening to this information. Now we hope you realise how fun it is to learn. Bye. Sorry, mucus. If your nose is blocked with mucus from a cold, you can't smell proper carbon dioxide. I'll wait for you to point. Need a new one. 3, 2, 1. Help us to pull different face expressions and talk. Intestines, intestines, microscopic. I'm waiting for you to point.